All right, friends, how are you today? Michael Eschenburg here, Honest Aim, bringing you some honest astrology. Today we're going to be talking about the relationship between Pluto and Eris. Okay, these are both dwarf planets, both the furthest planets in our solar system. If you're not familiar with Eris, she was discovered in 2005 and by the astronomers deemed worthy of being called a dwarf planet. Very similar size, similar density to Pluto. Okay. Now Pluto takes 244 years to go around the sun. Eris takes like 550. Okay. She is way on the outer and an even more odd elliptical pattern than Pluto itself. Pluto's a very interesting elliptical pattern, very different from the rest of the solar system, which is another reason why it's like transformation, change, and the Lord of the Underworld. So let's talk about that for a quick second. I'm going to show you the chart because I've got pulled up only Pluto and Eris. Now, just 2 weeks ago, okay, this conjunction or this square was exact 2 weeks ago. Okay. And I've been thinking about putting this out. I should have put it out then, but it's all right because this energy, we're all feeling it right now. Okay. And it's going to happen. Let me show you here. So they're starting to move away from each other. And again, anything within about, 6 to 8 degrees is still going to be, a proper aspect. So they're staying within the degree of each other here. Look at this, 24:48, 24:17. Here's June, July. Yeah, I'm going month by month, okay? These are very slow-moving planets, okay? August, 2 degrees apart. Now Pluto direct again come October, still just 2 degrees apart. This is the only time, here we go. So in December, they connect again. Let me see here. They connect again December 9th. Exactly. And then finally start to move apart from each other. January, February. This is in the next year. This is a year from now. They're still just 2 degrees apart, and then Pluto finally starts picking up. You can see the relationship. Here we go again. This is clearly going to be happening. So it doesn't matter that, this video didn't come out a week ago or 2 weeks ago when the conjunction was exact, because it's going to continue to happen all the way until October 2021, And then finally Pluto starts to make its way out. Okay, now that's fine. Eris now has been in the sign of Aries since the 1940s, something like that. Pluto's been here in Capricorn since 2008, okay, transforming our government, creating great change. So a lot of people alive right now, pretty much just about everyone has had Eris in the sign of Aries. Now, if you're not familiar with the mythology of Eris, she's considered the goddess of discord, okay? And her claim to fame in mythology is that she presented the seven muses. Okay, now this is a funny relationship between Hades, Pluto, and Eris. Eris presented the seven muses with an apple, and on this apple was written, "To the most beautiful one." Okay, and just gave him the information. Here's the information. Now, what they decided to do with that information is why she's the goddess of discord, because all she did is offer information. Okay, and the seven muses tore each other apart. It was this giant rival. It became an argument. It became anger, aggression. So we can look at this and say, even if you are physically the most beautiful one, which is to the eye of the beholder, clearly, what attitude followed was clearly not the most beautiful, right? So we have information that comes forward. And this is in the sign of Aries, which is aggressive, assertive, impactful. It is right now, you know. We have Chiron up there right now as well. I'm not pulling Chiron up, but he's at, right now, while I'm making this video, at 3 degrees, and over the next 6 years is going to be moving, 6.5 years is going to be moving through the sign of Aries, right? And it's healing these wounds, healing the aspects of our, how we respond to things, you know. Now Pluto, Hades, the lord of the underworld, came up and took one of these 7 muses, Persephone, which he thought was the most beautiful and adorned one, as Persephone was the goddess who everything she touched, you know, flowers blossomed. Okay, again, this is mythology. So Hades, the lord of the underworld, took Persephone, who is also Virgo. Virgo is Persephone. Get out of here. And Virgo is holding the balancing scales. Okay, Virgo, the virgin who says yes or no to something, holds these balancing scales, and then what we're saying yes or no to weighs our heart, weighs our karma, weighs our life choices and decisions. Anyway, so, you know, Hades takes Persephone and makes her the lord of the underworld, or goddess of the underworld, you know. So they strike a deal. Mercury, King Jupiter asks Mercury, let's strike a deal. King Jupiter has no business in the underworld. Mercury's the only one that can go there. Okay, again, just talking mythology before I get into the deeper aspects of what this means astrologically. So Mercury goes down and strikes a deal with the Lord of the Underworld and Persephone. And Persephone is very happy being this, because she's not just one of 7 muses. She is now the goddess, you know, the goddess of something. The goddess and adorned and appreciated by, you know, this great lord, Pluto, Hades. Okay, so they strike a deal and say, okay, I will come up and visit the Earth realm every spring. For 6 months, I will touch and beautify all of life. And then for 6 months, I will go down. And this is when life dies. This is autumn. This is fall, you know. When stuff here in the northern hemisphere, you know, the trees go inward, the plants cease to blossom and to bloom. Okay, so that's, you know, that's our mythology. So Hades is the lord of the underworld and the lord of transformation, you know. Eris, the goddess of discord, because she's just simply offering information, whether her intent was good, bad, or whether it was to just prove a point, you know. I don't necessarily look at Eris the same way as like the Black Moon Lilith, you know, this first Eve kind of energy. I just look at it as, it's like, this is information, and how we choose as individuals to deal with this information is a reflection of ourselves, right? Really powerful. Now, that should sink in greatly. How are we choosing to respond to information? And a funny way to look at this, whether you're a poker player or not, you know, it doesn't matter. We often in life, we can look at another individual and say, oh, well, they just had everything handed to them. They always had money, or they always had, you know, beautiful, good looks, or they always had this, and that's why their life is so great and so easy. And me, I can't do those things. I wasn't born, you know, with the best looks or the best singing voice or the best, you know, creative energies, or I've always been, you know, stuck in some way, you know, and we're only victims to ourselves, you know. We're not victims to outside circumstances, you know. We're co-creators of our own reality. So how we choose to look at these things, you know. So coming back to this analogy of poker, you know, it's very fascinating when you see these, you know, the last table in poker of like the, you know, because there's always these giant tournaments, and then they dwindle down and dwindle down and dwindle down to like the last 10 people. And those last 10 people are often very familiar and similar faces that keep getting back to this table. And why is that? Do they keep getting the best cards? No, absolutely not. You know, they get garbage hands. They get, certainly they can get a pair of aces, and they can certainly get 2 7 offsuit, whatever, you know. It doesn't matter. It's not about the cards. It's not about the information. It's what we do with the information. It's how we choose to handle ourselves. Do we choose to handle ourselves in a mature fashion? Do we choose to handle ourselves in a professional manner? Okay. Everything is a reflection. Right now, all this Capricorn energy that's going on here in 2020, I mean, Pluto's still going to be in Capricorn until 2024, changing. This is about our public image. This is how people view us. And how people view us is also viewing on when it hits the fan and we lose our cool. What is making us lose our cool? What is causing us to be triggered? This is important as these two do this dance over the next year and a half until October of 2021, right? So what information is being presented to us? How are we choosing to handle ourselves? How are we choosing to let things go? Does it matter who's the most beautiful one? Does it matter what cards you have in your hand? It's all how you play them. It's all what you choose to do with this information. And this is something that's going to be revisited and revisited and revisited and revisited for us over the next year and a half. Okay. And finally, Chiron will sneak up. Let me see. I'll pull this up on the chart here. Let's see, when does Chiron actually connect here? This great healing. Okay, I'll come back to the chart for you. Hey, here we go. Yeah, we're getting closer. There it goes. There it goes. It's not till... What is that? Oops. I'm going too quick. It's not till 2025. There you go. Around May of 2025. And that by that time, Pluto is in Aquarius, right? Neptune is going to leave her home sign of Pisces and enter the sign of Aries. It's going to be a very different world, when we're finally healing these parts of ourselves. But right now, 2025, that's five years away. So for the next year and a half, we're this tension is building and saying, like, what is sustainable? What is sustainable for me? How I choose to act, and how do I choose to respond to information? How I choose to be triggered, and what somebody says or does that triggers me, and to recognize that that's within me. Somebody can be angry, and if I'm happy, well, what does that matter? I'm not your anger. Do I have to choose to respond to your anger, right? I'll end it like this, because I'm a sound therapist as well as an astrologer and whatever, so I work since 2006. I've been working vibrationally, understanding, a deeper understanding of our world vibrationally. I have these, beautiful singing bowls and all these lovely instruments that help us align our bodies into harmony. Each organ is part of the symphony that aligns with the cosmos, right? And it's what are we resonating with? What are we allowing to affect us? If you, here we go. If you put a clock on this wall and on the wall behind me, both with a pendulum, okay, independent tick-tocks, they're both going to tick-tock a second, but they're both going to have their own frequency. They're both going to have their own mechanical independent tick-tock of 1 second. Now, if you put those two clocks together, okay, on the same wall, whatever clock has the more dominant frequency, the more dominant tick-tock, the other one will pick up and automatically start going with it, okay? This is nature. This is the nature of vibration. Okay, so what we have here, what we're going to be faced with over the next year and a half, all the way through this healing process that's coming in 2025, which is really a beautiful energy to have. Vibrationally, I can come into work and be in a great mood. And then Jerry or Mary can come in and be in a terrible mood. And maybe they sit right next to me. Or maybe they're my immediate coworker that I have to deal with all day long, 5-6 days a week, whatever it may be. Okay, now, Jerry Mary's in a low vibration. I'm in a high vibration. Okay. There's three things that can happen. Either my positive, upbeat vibration can ease Jerry or Mary's lower vibration, and theirs will begin to rise. Okay? Which is the ideal goal, that we maintain our level of positivity, that we maintain our high vibration, dealing whatever circumstance, whatever information is coming to us, that we maintain our vibration so that the other can just be them. Okay? Now, the opposite can happen, where their I come into work and I'm happy. Jerry or Mary over here is just miserable, complaining, and then what happens? I'm not in my breath. I am not conscious. I am not secure in that's Pluto's job right now, is like the structure of making sure that we are in our space, holding our own space, right? So if I'm not, that's why this is very important. This connection here is very important, because if I'm not, what's going to happen is my vibration is going to lower to match Jerry or Mary's. Maybe we're going to get into an argument. Maybe we're going to get into a disagreement. Maybe I'm going to say, like, look, you come into every work angry. And now look, I'm the mirror reflecting their anger. Right? And it's like, that's not helpful. It's maintaining our own TikTok, maintaining our own level of vibrational frequency, and being ourselves and being at peace with ourselves, right? Now, the third thing that can happen here is we're not going to match our vibrations at all. They're not going to rise to match my positivity and high vibration. I'm not going to lower to their vibration. And just like two magnets that have a negative and a positive, they're going to repel. It's just not going to work out. I'm either going to find a new position, a new partner, a new coworker that's going to resonate, because like attracts like. I am vibrationally going to meet and find a match that's going to work and harmonize with me. This connection just won't last. It's going to vibrate apart. That's the nature of this energy and matter and vibration in general. So over the next couple of years here, especially right now, we have this tension and square. That's what it's reminding us, is to maintain and hold our own. To not say, look, you get all the good cards, I get all the bad cards. That's not the right information, That's not the right information, and it's not the right way to handle ourselves professionally, or, in life in general, And then the other side is maintaining our vibration, maintaining our space, maintaining our energy, taking inventory of how I feel. We can even say this, empathetically. If you're an empath, walking into an environment, and all of a sudden there's people that you feel are negative. There's a negative energy or whatever, and you immediately feel that, and you want to vacate and get out of there. There's two sides to that as well. One, that might be the right decision. Two, it might be doing a disservice to yourself and to that environment, because you went there for a purpose. You went there for a reason. You were being called to go to this place because you love it. You love the atmosphere. You love the food, the drinks, whatever. That's where you and your friend or whomever decided to meet up. But because of somebody else's or other people's vibrations, you allowed your light to get dimmed by the darkness. You allowed your higher vibration to get muted by a lower vibration. And this is saying, stay strong, lighthouse. Bring your light into these areas. Stay strong and stay positive and shine that light. And that's okay, because then, and that's why it's a disservice if we do sometimes surrender and just leave. Again, we have to discern those differences ourselves. We have to be able to know and look in with ourselves, and again, taking inventory of our own emotional space, our own emotional state. Are we going to allow somebody else to energetically bully us out of where we want to be? A path of least resistance, and it's up to us to discern those differences. So over the next couple of months, over the next year and a half, we're being tried with this energy of maintaining our own vibration, of maintaining our peace. How are we dealing with the information that's being given to us? Are we allowing ourselves to be triggered? Because again, that anger comes from within us. If you bump into me and coffee comes out, that's because coffee's in my cup. If you bump into me and tea comes out, that's because tea's in my cup. If you bump into me and oh, no worries, bud, have a good day. If happiness comes out, that's because happiness is in my cup. If we bump into each other and anger comes out, watch where you're going, Mary, Jerry. It's because anger is in my cup. So it's taking inventory of what's in our own cup, what information we have that needs to come out inside, and that's not blaming somebody else. I'm the most beautiful. You're the most beautiful. You are the most beautiful. I admit. I surrender. All right. So that is the relationship between Pluto and Eris happening right now for the next year and so. Hopefully this has been informative and helpful, because we're going to be dealing with this obviously for quite some time, if we already have been dealing with this kind of energy. So stay high, my friends. Keep that high vibration. Stay centered. Stay grounded. And it's all going to be all right. We'll see you tomorrow.